Sides in Ontario's college strike back at the bargaining table this evening after faculty and other staff flatly rejected a contract offer. The pressure to make a deal has been ramped up after Premier Wynne met with both sides after the results.
I think it's absolutely, this can happen in the next couple of days. It really just requires a willingness on council to hear this message. I mean, you have 95% of our faculty voted 86% to reject this offer. We know that we have their backing. We know we're on the right path for our students and our faculty.
Okay, we're going to go live now to CB24's Travis Danraj for more on the day's developments. Nearly 5 weeks into this dispute. Travis.
Yeah, certainly a lot happening today in terms of this strike, but still students are not back in the classroom, and they will not be for some time. There was hope earlier today that they could be back in as early as Tuesday. Obviously, that is not happening now because the strike vote went the way it did. But the good news here is that the negotiations are going on right now. But about 500,000 students from places like George Brown and colleges right across the province, they're caught in the middle right now. I'm here with Adela. She's an international student, and the impact on international students is significant. You want this strike to be over?
Yes.
Tell me why.
Why? Because I want everything will be on the schedule and can finish on the time. I want to be graduate and...
Yeah, you're supposed to graduate next year. You're doing the hospitality program. Do you think that's in jeopardy now?
Yes. Because it will be affect the course and affect a lot of things, and it's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
We should be on our holiday.
You know, I was saying that international students specifically are really affected by this. You came here to this province from China specifically to study here, and tell me, what you want to see ultimately happen.
What happened? I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, well, listen, we have some breaking news right now. Hang tight. We're going to send it back to you, Steph. I guess we have some breaking news on the strike.
Yes, we do. Breaking news from the Premier's office. We've just learned that the Premier has issued a statement, and it involves back-to-work legislation, and it says we have repeatedly said that students have been in the middle of the strike for too long, and it's not fair, and we need to get them back into the classroom.
She goes on to say, I've asked the parties to work to resolve the issues between them, either through a negotiated agreement or by submitting to voluntary binding arbitration. All agreed in an attempt to find a solution by 5 p.m. today. Unfortunately, we've heard from the parties they've reached an impasse in negotiations and that they have not agreed to binding arbitration. That's why we're immediately tabling legislation that would end the dispute and return Ontario college students to the classroom where they belong.
And it goes on to say that under the proposed legislation that we're introducing today, all outstanding issues would be referred to binding mediation arbitration. We urge both opposition parties to unanimously support our legislation so that students and faculty can return to class on Monday morning.
So we'll be watching that this evening.
Absolutely. Breaking news again, back-to-work legislation in the college strike. Travis.
Yeah, so certainly that is some big news for students. We'll get Adela back in here right now. Back to work legislation. So that means students could be back in the class very soon. Your thoughts on that? That's just breaking here on CP24.
Nice.
This is some good news for you.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Everyone wants back to school soon.
So what have the past 5 weeks been like for you?
A little bit affect me normal schedule because usually we can contact with our professor. We know what we should do, but this 5 weeks we only can guess what we should to do.
Okay, well, listen, thank you so much for sticking with us here. So that is some very good news. Not in terms of the two parties. Obviously, this is not what they wanted to happen. They wanted to be able to hammer out a deal at the table. We had indications that they were pretty far apart earlier this morning when Smokey Thomas said, I do not trust the CEC. I do not like the negotiating team, but I have to work with them. Clearly, that meeting that happened today at 900 Bay Street didn't work out the way the Premier wanted in terms of getting the folks back in the room to hammer out a deal. However, this is some good news for the students who will be back in class sooner rather than later. It's back to you for now, Steph and Nick.
Okay, thanks, Travis, and we will continue to follow this breaking news and reaction for you throughout the evening.
5:44 right now, 4 degrees. This is live at 5:30 on Toronto's Breaking News, CB24 and CTV Toronto.
We're going to go back to Travis Danrich now. More on the breaking news. Back to work legislation tabled in the college strike. Let's go to Travis Danrich.
Some very big news when it comes to this strike, Steph. 500,000 students right across this province could be back to class as soon as Monday. Just got off the phone with the president of OPSU, Smokey Thomas. He actually didn't have all the details on this. However, he says right now he is going to meet with his team at 8 o'clock. There will be a news conference with OPSU at the Chelsea Hotel. Of course, we'll cover that live here on CP24. But the breaking news is that the province now tabling back to work legislation, and students could be back in class as early as Monday. We'll have continuing coverage on CP24 throughout the evening. It's back to you for now from
Travis,
George Brown campus.
Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, the big question is, will the NDPs and PCs support it after all of what they've said over the last 5 weeks? I'll have to watch for that this evening as well.